COVID-19 pandemic has caused a severe drop in demand for many sectors of the economy. Well, along with retail, the oil and gas sector has seen a sharp decline in wholesale prices. Well, London-listed Great Eastern Energy Corp, which primarily operates in India, has just said this week that its profits for the 6 months to September halved as sales were impacted due to lockdowns. Well, joining me now is the Chief Executive, Prashant Modi. Mr. Modi, welcome to you. To what extent has your production been hampered by COVID?
Well, actually, our sales were hampered by about 35%, and correspondingly, we had to control the production. We are now pretty much close to pre-COVID levels, so our production is back up.
If one steps back from the short-term disruption caused by COVID, what are the longer-term supply and demand dynamics in the Indian natural gas market?
Well, the Indian market is pretty much back to pre-COVID levels as far as the hydrocarbon demand is concerned. In October, our hydrocarbon demand was 2% even higher than last October. So, the economic activity is increasing. Things have opened up here. Industrial activity is on full swing. Auto demand is very high. And we have seen our customers also consuming at pre-COVID levels now.
Now, obviously, you specialise in coal bed methane extraction. What do you say to people who say that this is damaging for climate change? I mean, it's quite a controversial activity.
Actually, it's the opposite. It's beneficial to climate change for the reason because coal bed methane was introduced to the world in the late 80s as a demethanization project. So instead of venting the methane out into the atmosphere prior to coal mining, this technology was developed to extract the methane and supply it as clean fuel and then go in for mining so that methane doesn't escape into the atmosphere. As you know, the methane is a big greenhouse gas. If emitted into the atmosphere, it's 21 tons of CO2 for every ton of methane. And if you consume it, it's natural gas, so it's clean energy.
But the water that's extracted from coal methane bed wells is very high in salinity. It can't be used in agriculture, for example, can it?
In our case, it can. It depends from field to field. Where the water quality is an issue, which is in some coal bed methane fields, then you have to set up a water treatment plant. This is one of the environmental regulations. So every company in the US, many companies have set it up, which I've seen myself when I visited them in Durango, etc., in the Powder River Basin and Black Warrior Basin. In India, luckily in our case, the water is very clean and complies to all standards without even treating it.
Now, separately, you've been trying to invest $2 billion in shale extraction in West Bengal. The government opposed withheld approval. Are you going to keep trying to do that?
No, the government has not withheld approval. What happened was 2 years ago, the government allowed all operators in India to explore any hydrocarbon they have in their block. And initially it was you could only extract one hydrocarbon and not the other, whatever you were licensed for. So they changed that. And so everybody's permitted. We have now just awaiting the final approvals from the government. And once that is through, then we will start our initial exploration program, which is just core wells, no production, to see what kind of resources there. And we think it's a very viable resource from the initial studies we've done. In the high estimate, it's about 6.6 TCF or trillion cubic feet of shale resource that we expect to have. Once that is proven, then we will go ahead for some pilot production drilling.
All right. Well, I hope you'll keep us updated on that. Prashant Modi, very good to talk to you. Thanks for joining me.
Likewise. Thank you.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live with holidays banned and winter coming.